What if a simple piece of legislation was the spark that ignited a revolution? Today, we delve into the Stamp Act of 1765 and its profound implications on the American Revolution. The Stamp Act was born from British Parliament's decision to impose a tax on the American colonies, targeting all paper materials, a common commodity in colonial life. From legal documents to newspapers and playing cards, this tax permeated daily life. Enforced by the British, the Stamp Act was the first direct tax on the American colonies, setting the stage for a brewing storm. The Stamp Act's implementation met with fierce opposition from the colonies. It was viewed as a blatant overreach of British power. From this discontent, the Stamp Act Congress was born, a union of 9 American colonies. It was here that the Declaration of Rights and Grievances was adopted, a document that boldly challenged the authority of the British Parliament over the colonies. The colonies' slogan, "No taxation without representation," began to echo through the streets, a rallying cry that embodied their resistance against the act. This was more than a protest against a tax policy, it was a challenge to the very underpinnings of British rule. In response to the Stamp Act, the colonies initiated mass boycotts of British goods, a collective act of defiance that hit Britain where it hurt most, its economy. And in the shadows, secret societies like the Sons of Liberty began to form, signaling the start of an underground resistance movement. The colonies' unified opposition to the Stamp Act marked a significant shift in the relationship between Britain and its American colonies, one that would soon lead to open rebellion. The Stamp Act, while eventually repealed, had set a precedent that would forever change the course of history. In 1766, the British Parliament rescinded the Stamp Act, but simultaneously introduced the Declaratory Act, asserting unambiguous authority over the colonies in all matters. This was not a peace offering, but rather a thinly veiled assertion of dominance. Over the next few years, Britain continued to impose additional acts of taxation on the colonies, each one a kindling to the smoldering resentment of the colonists. The Townshend Acts of 1767, the Tea Act of 1773, and others were met with increasing resistance, culminating in dramatic events like the Boston Massacre in 1770, and the Boston Tea Party in 1773. These acts of defiance were not random outbursts of anger, but calculated expressions of a growing desire for autonomy. They were the sparks that ignited the powder keg of revolution. The colonists, once loyal subjects, were now questioning the authority of the crown and contemplating the unthinkable: independence. The Stamp Act, a seemingly innocuous tax policy, had ignited a flame of resistance that would grow into the all-consuming fire of revolution. This was the birth of the American fight for independence, a fight born out of a dispute over stamps and paper. And so, with the echoes of taxation ringing in their ears, the colonists embarked on a path that would lead to the birth of a new nation.